Robinson, who's in the slot. Look in that direction on a slant. Huge hit. Ball picked off. The Volunteers on the carry make an interception. Jawan Mitchell, they call him Juju.
The discrepancy. Schuster, they were going to take a shot, but he's hit by Nelson. And Nebraska has picked up the football. Their first takeaway of the game.
Wells way down the field. It is into coverage. It is intercepted. It is over. Lamarian James has sealed the victory for Old Dominion. And fittingly, it comes on a takeaway.
Welcome back to Devy IDP Grind. I am Hollywood Titan. I'm joined by my co-host, Justice, and we have a special guest with us today, Shay Taylor, linebacker for Ohio University. What's going on, Shay?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. We watched you play your bowl game.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Big performance by you. 6 tackles, TFL, sack, fumble recovery, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was nice to have a first start, but yeah, a lot of fun.
Right, and I believe you will be a redshirt junior starting next year. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So you will have 2 more years of eligibility, correct?
Yep.
Nice, nice.
With COVID, it's always hard to figure out the eligibility.
For anybody that wants to follow you, your Twitter is. Yeah, I never can figure out the eligibility things with the COVID years and the red shirts and the medical red shirts. Some of these guys playing 7-8 years. I'm like, good grief.
Yeah, you're telling me, especially when you have, Key Thompson, Bryce Houston coming back for 8th year, 7th year, whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. For anybody that wants to follow you, your Twitter handle is @Shay_Taylor5, and they can follow you on Instagram @ShayDog05. A little bit about you. You played for Sheridan High School Generals in Thornville, Ohio. You finished your junior and senior seasons with a total of 146 tackles, 17 TFLs, 6 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 recoveries, 7 interceptions, and a 99-yard pick 6. You were a 2-time Muskingum Valley League Linebacker of the Year. You were a 2-time All-Ohio first team, and you helped lead Sheridan High School to their 3rd straight NVL championship. Got to feel good to win a championship at the high school level.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a little bit about Sheridan is that it's a smaller town, and it's kind of like that movie called Friday Night Lights. It's that small community where everyone's shutting down the town and going to the game. So every year the standard is to win it, and every year we are in the runnings for it. And yeah, very blessed to be on a great team, a great program, growing up to solidify what a winning program is like. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So we'll start at the beginning. Who introduced you to the game of football?
I'd have to go with my father. He was, throwing the football when we were very little. But, yeah, I mean, even him breaking down college film. We're always watching on Saturday nights and days. But, yeah, he definitely was the one introduced to me because he played at college for it too as well.
Awesome. So you've started your college career with Ohio University. What was the decision into choosing them?
So at the time it was kind of a mess because we had the portal problem just erupted around the time when that December when I was committing. And then we also had, not only the portal, but you had the COVID play in too. So it was a mixture of like
Right.
kids are coming back for an extra year ahead of me, and then you have kids that are going to be able to transfer wherever they want to and not have to sit out a year. And so that limits the scholarships you have. So I had offers from preferred walk-ons from Miami, Ohio, Toledo, Wake Forest, Akron. I mean, I had some decent, good offers, but the first offer scholarship-wise came from Ohio U, and I had both my sisters go there, and it's very close to home. So definitely had to go with that and lock in a scholarship before I can, continue exploring the options and commit later. And I think the spring. So yeah.
Yeah. So going to Ohio, and that leads me to my next question. You were recruited by them and Frank Solich. What was it like to be recruited by him and to get to play under him?
It was cool. I wasn't I wasn't there for too much longer. I think it was only like a part of spring ball until he was gone, or maybe it was that fall camp he left. But it was cool because being recruited by him was very you knew there was a big tradition there, and it really reminded me of the same principles we have at my high school, that everyone respects this man, and the legacy he's done for this program is unmatched. And so, yeah, it was very, very unique experience. I'm glad.
Awesome. Speaking of the recruiting process, what's some of your likes and dislikes about it?
I think it's cool it's unique to be able to go and to try to, have options for where you want to play. It's exciting. It's something to look forward to, of picking and choosing. But at the same time too, you're always being evaluated by other people constantly, and that could continue to be a negative toll of like, well, why am I not getting this offer from here? Why am I, it's just a consistent, it could make you really overthink the process and have doubt, but just staying patient and knowing that you're going to end up where you're meant to be, that's the biggest key.
With the change, like you mentioned, with the portal, are coaches kind of actively recruiting their current players, or trying to, get a feel for them to keep them on, past the year? Or, I mean, I would assume that's what they're, it seems like you got to re-recruit players, basically.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. And what's crazy now too is coaches can, if they can basically kick you off the team saying like, you're never going to play here. And it's crazy. And like, they're actively always 24/7. And what I feel like is recruiting not only, a handful of high school kids, but kids that are, they might know who's going to be in the portal, or kids who obviously are in the portal and, have made a significant impact on their team. So it's crazy. It's even worse than just recruiting was.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, it just as a fan, it seems pretty crazy with the NIL and the recruiting. I just read a story, I think last week, where a backup running back at Florida State went to them and said he wanted $500,000, and they were like, laughed at him and said, "Oh, sorry, too bad, so sad." So he went to the portal, and then he ended up signing with an FCS school, which it just seems ironic to me, right? You asked for $500,000, and now you're signing with an FCS school. But just the crazy world we're in today.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy too, because it's becoming free agency, and it's becoming these kids, and it's really is upsetting, because a lot of these kids think the grass is greener, just because they don't like their school or their coaches or their depth chart. They don't have that grinding mentality of just sticking it out and winning the job where they are. It's well, this isn't fair, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think, like you said, a lot of kids get a lot of bad advice too. Though I'd say if there is a positive, though, from my perspective, is you see kids that may have declared for the draft, but probably were going to be drafted like 7th round or an undrafted free agent. They're coming back to school, which that part I do enjoy. I think that's that's a, if there's a positive, that is one positive for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it creates opportunities for
Yeah.
a lot of kids. But yeah, I mean, I hope it's a beneficial thing for just about everyone. But yeah.
So we mentioned the Myrtle Beach win over Georgia Southern. You got the start in place of Key Thompson. You had the 6 tackles, 3 solos, the 1 TFL, the sack, the fumble recovery. What was that experience like? Because I was sitting here watching the game, and especially on your sack, right? You just straight blew through there, and I was like, "Oof!" Just a huge impact play. But what was that whole experience getting to start in a bowl game like that for you?
Very definitely unique. I think I felt very patient and very eager because I've been behind Key Thompson for what feels like a very long time, and there's even talks of him coming back, and eventually hit the portal, and I finally knew that being in, just having an opportunity, I could show these coaches really what I and the fans and my family what I'm capable of, and I was very blessed to do that and be in the position where I could do that. And yeah, it was very unique, and I'm very blessed because the opportunities of, I mean, the fumble recovery, was Brad, and they didn't call this the blitz, just very fortunate for that to happen. But yes, definitely gets me excited for the future, and definitely my coaches and family.
Yeah, I think the sack, as I was sitting here watching it, I feel like that kind of set the tone for your team, especially the defense, because it happened early in the first quarter. And it's kind of like after that play, y'all just took off. The whole team just took off and ran with it. So,
yeah, that was fun because it got to the point where it's like, okay, we get 1 or 2 turnovers, it's all right. We're not done, So it's we got to keep going.
Right.
And having 5 turnovers in one game is bizarre from a defense, especially you're playing in a bowl game against honestly arguably a good team. They're putting up 30, 40 points a game. I mean, it's a good offense.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of expected a different outcome just because of the opt-outs on your side, right? So it's kind of cool to see players, like yourself, step up. John Parker Navarro started at quarterback, and then the running back Ricky Hunt, man, he had a hell of a game.
Oof.
Yeah, so that was awesome. Like, to me, that's like what bowl games are all about, is seeing people that you may not have gotten to see, over the course of the season. They're getting to start and step up and show out, so to speak. And your defense has been awesome all year, and you guys played awesome once again, in the bowl game.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, like, these kids who, I mean, behind closed doors, when all these fans and maybe not coaches or family can notice, because they're just not getting a game throughout the regular season. How hard they're working, and when they finally get their opportunity, it's amazing. Even Nolan McCormick, I mean, Ricky did an amazing job, but Nolan obviously did an amazing job too. I mean, setting the tone. I mean, taking away from his athletic ability to just bulldoze people, Parker to just be pure and make passes, and had some great receivers step up, and obviously Ricky Hunt. I mean, 5 touchdowns is ridiculous, but yeah, it's
the jump pass on that one was pretty special. Because he had to stop, turn around, and he kind of one-handed catch. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's exciting for sure.
So on your sack, what was the play call, and what did you see pre-snap and as the play was developing? Did it just kind of clearly it was the right play call, but was it the play call that kind of set that up, or did it just kind of, because it almost looked like the Red Sea was parting for you there, because it was just a straight shot for you. So was there a missed assignment somewhere, you think, maybe offensively, or was the play call itself really what freed you up to go do what you did?
It's a very aggressive play call. I think just about every team has the same type of blitz in the nation, but where both backers blitz, one is attacking the center and one is reading off and most likely crosses. I happened to see the center looking at me, so I crossed, and it was designed for Bryce Houston to come clear and get through to the quarterback. But because I don't know how, but the center still latched on to me, but I just seemed to seep through, and the slide was to my right, and the center was going to my right, so it created an opening. And the quarterback kind of stepped up the wrong way and was able to make the play. But yeah, it was great call by Spence, and he's been, perfect all year.
Awesome. I always love to hear, on big plays like that. I love to hear the breakdown of what the player sees and all that. It's just so interesting to me. And we'll touch on this a little bit, but how different is playing outside linebacker compared to playing inside linebacker for you? Because you played a lot of outside in high school. Is that something that they're asking you to do a lot of at Ohio, or are they just kind of letting you learn everything?
So I am the Mike linebacker. To be honest, you got to know both. You got to know inside and hitting in the box, be those, run pluggers. And then you also have to be in apex and be able to, reroute kids and be man on the back. So it's definitely, I feel like more combination. In high school, I was probably genuinely a little bit more hybrid, but I think now you have to really mix in pass rushing and a lot more blitzing and being able to take kids man on and pass defense. So definitely a lot more versatile and ground to cover. But
awesome. So we'll change it up a little bit. What do you like to do away from the game of football when you have some free time? What are some hobbies? What are some things that you like to do?
Honestly, just relax. I mean, any chance to focus on a movie and not have to focus on, 5 things at once on the field is my cup of tea. It's definitely like watching a movie, relax with the family for sure.
Awesome. So we kind of touched on a little bit with the NIL in place now. What's your thoughts on that? And do you have any deals in place? I know it's a game changer for college athletics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and people are getting different things, but do you have a preference? Do you like it? Don't like it? What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a great idea. Obviously it's like the portal where it can get out of hand and it can be used to keep kids or to, recruit kids in a way, but I like it. I have some, obviously not as many as Key Thompson and Bryce Houston because they just were solidifying the spot all the entire year, but I have some in the work, some unique ones, but yeah, it's cool. And I've made some little side money that I could put towards saving, and I can also, have some for some like unique clothing, like Hagger pants was one of the ones that just amazing dress pants, so really cool brands will reach out to you and it's a unique experience. So yeah.
That's cool. Very cool.
Now, does the school help you guys get those? Like, do they have something set up to kind of help bring people to you guys, or is it kind of on your own?
It's a little bit of both because you can do it through. There's these main organizations that's the middleman, and they'll bring in these companies, and then you'll create an account. One of them specifically through the school, and the other is more independent through the individual. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's not, we're not getting Louis Vuitton deals like Ohio State. It's definitely trickling down to Ohio University, which is really cool because I've heard some good names that are coming to OU.
Does Ohio have a collective to help with that, or is it?
Not that I necessarily know of. No,
Okay.
not that.
Do they have somebody that's helping you and your teammates with these deals? Like, I guess the ones that the school's doing, of course, but like the ones that y'all are getting kind of that comes to you on your own or whatever. Is there somebody that's kind of giving y'all some guidance on you should do this or no, or
Yeah,
is it kind of mostly up to you?
there's definitely some people that are you like have the availability to go and ask them questions because it's pretty much all new to everyone. So you have that resource to go and to ask,
Right.
but for the most part, you have to be the one to put in the effort and to be smart about every deal you make because you don't want to backfire you later on. So
Right.
yes, you have that resource, but you have to be smart overall.
Right. So back to the game of football. What's one thing that you feel like you need to improve most about your game?
I would say I would like to improve some some pass rushing. That's something from the line specifically, like off the edge. That's something I've never worked on a whole bunch in high school, and something that I really want to improve on because Bryce Houston was just phenomenal at it, and his moves were just and really impressive. So that's a great role model to have for that. Also, being able to recognize just inside the game things of like, okay, this guy's lined up here. I know he's going to be able to do this and that, and just knowing those little small details of every single inch of the game of where's this guy's feet at, where's this guy's hand, how heavy is the lineman's hand on the ground, just small things like that to give me those simple keys. I think I can take that next step in and to really slow the game down and be able to call that stuff out to help my teammates and to me to make it play on the ball sooner.
Right. What do you think the strongest part of your game is?
I would say just having a niche for the ball, being able to at least find the ball and attack it. However I get there, just like the blitz, like that blitz wasn't designed for me to make that for the most part. It was designed for Bryce, and just being able to slip through there and be able to make that sack, or being able to slip through the offensive line and just be there for when Bradley Lever knocks the ball loose for me to grab it. Having an itch for the ball, right, I think has been something that was big for me in high school and something I hope to continue for next season.
Being in the MAC, you guys play a lot of midweek games. As a fan, I know, as a football fan, right? We get football every night of the week. But as a player, what are your thoughts on those Tuesday night, Wednesday night games?
Yes.
I think it's unique because you have something different than what people are used to. You have an own special, almost culture. And it also helps with, people back home can watch your games more easily because it's, one of the only ones aired. But for the most part, I think it's very cool and unique experience because it's a culture, like I said, and it's just nothing else like it. And there's something different than, just playing on a Saturday night or Saturday morning. I think it's very, very unique culture that needs to stay.
Yeah. It's pretty, as a fan, I think it's pretty cool. A lot more exposure for sure.
Yeah, the exposure, I would imagine, is the big thing, right? Because like you said, you're kind of the only game on, the only game in town, as opposed to Saturday when there's a full slate and people are picking and choosing. So, yeah, I'm with Justice. I love the football on during the week. It's great.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite song of all time?
Favorite what?
Favorite song of all time.
Wow. On the spot. I I would have to say, man, that's tough. I'll give you
It
an
can be
artist.
anything. It can be the song that you play that gets you hyped up, or just something, a personal favorite. Okay.
The song that gets me hyped up is Revenge by Jenner Lucas, but the artist is a guy named Russ. He's not as well known, but he's definitely got some upbeat music to listen to pregame and some great lyrics. Definitely him.
Awesome. What is a bucket list concert that you have?
Chris Stapleton.
Is there a concert that you say, hey, this is on my bucket list, I want to go see?
Chris Stapleton. Nice. I mean, he's just I've heard he's better outside, but either way, I just to hear him, and that would be just an amazing experience. He's another awesome artist. It's probably my second best favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, he can flat out sing for sure. Kind of just, sticking with the theme here, talking about you. What is your favorite restaurant around campus? Do you have your spot that you go to, a local spot that everyone should know about that maybe they don't?
I would say DP Dough. That's probably one of the better ones. It's got the calzones. That's kind of a hidden gem because it's not necessarily on the campus site, but it's probably like a 3-minute drive just out of the way that a lot of kids just don't know about. So DP Dough, just amazing like calzones there. It's amazing.
Wow. So do you have a hidden talent that folks may not know about, or maybe a teammate that has a special talent that folks don't know about?
Hidden talent. I couldn't really think of one that crazy. Just the basic stuff. Like I can move my ears or do, I don't know. Nothing like, wow, like that's impressive.
Is there a teammate that's a really good singer, or I don't know?
Bryce Control, amazing singer. He's one to know. He's a running back. Bryce Control. Yeah, it's nothing like I have that I can't juggle. It's not basic stuff,
but what would you do career-wise if you didn't play football? Like if football wasn't an option for you, or you were just done with the game, what would you do career-wise?
Yeah, obviously, I'll try as far as I can. If that's not an option, it is to be a SWAT officer is the end goal. I would have to be in the police force for 2 years, and then going to apply to be a SWAT officer. That's something I wanted to do for a really long time now, and something I'm excited about.
It's awesome.
That's an interesting career choice. Is it do you have somebody in your family that's kind of done that before, or is it just a personal interest for you?
I've had family where that's been in either the police force or Air Force for that matter, but it's more personal of like I've grown up and I've always wanted to be in the Marines, but I'd never wanted to leave home and leave my family. So I was like, all right, what's the biggest thing I could do,
right,
but be able to come, and that's SWAT, in my opinion.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So in a previous interview that you did with Spartan Nation, I guess when they were trying to recruit you back in 2020, you stated that you see yourself as an outside linebacker that drops back in coverage, rushes the passer, but you said you were capable of playing inside and playing against the run. Do you still feel the same way now, or has that changed with your time with Ohio?
I would agree, but I would say yes, I would agree. It's definitely, like I said earlier, it's more versatile. I used to think in high school it was either you're either a pass defender or you're a run defender, and normally you get that out of those high school recruits. It's either you're a plugger or you can be able to intercept balls. But I would say that it's a lot more versatile in the aspect of I'm going to be able to not only plug the runs, intercept the balls, reroute, but also be able to pass rush. But so I would say I would agree for the most part with that statement.
Okay. So kind of staying with this same theme here, your high school coach, Paul Culver III, said you were the best pure coverage linebacker he has coached or seen. And with your size, you're 6'3", 218 now, your intelligence and your versatility, he could see you potentially growing into and maybe switching to a rush end. Is this something you were talking about rushing the passer, playing that edge? Is that something that you're looking to move towards, or has the coaching staff said, hey, we see you being that way as well, or what's the idea with that?
I've definitely gained a lot of weight and mass, in most of the sense that I'm actually like 230. I think the stat sheet has it wrong on ESPN, whatever it is, but I do not think I'm necessarily a true pass rusher in the aspect of like D-line, jack, that type of. I'll always, in my opinion, be a Mike linebacker, but there will be scenarios during a blitz or a fake blitz where I will be aligned up there off of the edge. And in those scenarios, I have to be able to, pass rush and make a move on the tackle or guard to be able to get to the quarterback. Because if I'm not able to do that, what's the point in the blitz? Right. So,
right.
But yeah, being able to do that is definitely more enhanced since high school. But that's something, that challenge and a technique I have to be able to display next year.
And I didn't have this one on the sheet, but what is something that you've mentioned Bryce Houston a couple times, you've mentioned Key Thompson a couple times. What is something that from either of them, or maybe it's something from both of them, that you've kind of learned, hey, I need to do more of that, or they've said, hey, you can be better if you'll do this?
So I would say Key's anger to play. His I mean, he goes out there and you could tell he flips a switch, and that's what I could connect with and relate to. And Bryce Houston, I mean, his leader aspect is what I inspired to be too. So, I mean, Bryce Houston off the field and on the field, he's always a leader and always picking you up and always going to, guide you to, do the best that you can. And he's a true inspirational leader. Key Thompson is a true inspirational player as well. I mean, he's, like I said, he goes on the field and you can tell he flips the switch and plays angry. So.
Right. What is one game that you would recommend to someone to watch of your play?
As far as what game? As far as
well, it can be high school or college, whatever. Just one game that you feel like really showcases your talents.
I mean, obviously I like the bowl game. But if we were to pick the best ever, my Jonathan Alder game when I was at high school, it was a playoff game my junior year in 2019, where I played pretty phenomenal and probably my best game ever. But obviously the bowl game I think is a great resume to put on there too. But
yeah. Is there one game that you would like to have back, that you would like to replay, and why?
I would say that's tough. Either I'd say probably my junior year, my sophomore year when we played Tri Valley. It was for the league title and ended up losing by 1 point at the end and like double overtime. It was ridiculous, but that was probably the main one.
Good stuff. Do you play fantasy football?
Not necessarily. No, I have friends who do, and I just try to stay away from it because I'm not really allowed to bet. You know, if I get caught up into
Oh yeah.
players, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you
Well, I
guys,
didn't know if
you
y'all
guys
just had
played.
a free fun league that y'all did or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys played Iowa State, who had some of that on their in their program this past year. How cool was that to get a win against a big Power 5 school?
Oh, it was good, and we've had their numbers since the year before. I think. I mean, we went there and they beat us pretty good, so we knew we were capable of doing it. We were capable of, in my opinion, we're all healthy, beating a lot of Power 5 schools, but we knew we had their number and we wanted some revenge for sure.
That's awesome. Is there an NFL linebacker that you pattern your game after?
I've thought about that for a while. I love the way that Lawrence Taylor, it's ironic because of our last name, played and his aggression too, his edge rush specifically. But currently Fred Warner, in college, went to Michigan State.
Nice.
Joe Bocci, he's on the Bengals now. He was a true inspiration for me growing up. Just the way he played at Michigan State was something, I'll never forget. So, for sure.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor is. If you're going to pick one, that's definitely a great.
Right.
So the question was, what's your favorite defensive play call and why?
I would say probably one of our blitzes, obviously, because, and honestly, truthfully, probably the blitz that I got the sack on in any game, just because it's one of those that sends a message, and both backers are coming, and we're that's one of the ones you got to get the ball out, or make a decision quick, because that's going to set the tone. So probably that, a blitzing for sure.
Right. Is there an opposing player or a type of opposing player that's hard for you to cover? Is there a certain style of a receiver or whatever, a back? That's harder for you to cover? Is there a certain player that you've just had trouble covering?
I mean, there was obviously in fall camp, Sam Lucas is hard to cover. You have those. We have some athletes, just in fall camp, and those who are hard to cover. But obviously, the ones that are quick, the fast ones, the ones that'll not only get you out in space, but make a great move on you if you take just a slightly bad angle. Those are the ones that are tough to stop. And I think Georgia Southern has some great athletes who were able to do that, but we were able to catch on to it early and shut them down quick.
Is there a player in the MAC that you just like either get up for, or that keeps your mind occupied when you're playing against them?
Oh yeah, Miami, easily Miami. And, yeah, I mean, even returning everyone from there, that's definitely, that loss is my morning coffee.
Oh yeah, yeah. and Brett Gabbert's coming back for feels like his 8th year.
Yes, that's exactly. So yeah, that's going to be the main mindset, and even Toledo too. We really wanted to get back at them. But yeah, them two teams are definitely on my bucket list.
And I would think you guys along with Miami should be kind of the favorites in the MAC next year, with Miami, getting Gabbert back. You guys playing so well on defense, playing so well in the bowl game, and the interesting battle between the two of you, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think, people do it every year. I think people even surprisingly did it this year. Thought, Ohio was going to be not as good just because we're losing so many people, or on defense, we're losing a decent amount of people. But, it's the same thing as the bowl game showed, is that, we don't necessarily rebuild. We try to reload.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're going to be a very talented team next year, and I think that'll be on full display.
Is there a certain type of like offense that you look forward to playing against?
Sorry, what was that? Which one?
Is there a certain type of offense like you look forward to playing against? I know, like, like a team like Western Michigan that's just gonna like run so many plays at you, or a team like Northern Illinois that's predominantly gonna run the ball. Is there a particular offense you like to play against more so than others, or?
That's a hard question. I would probably say any team that is based off of their true package of, okay, we don't care if we're going to line up like this, or we're going to use this play against you. Those true teams, because it's coming, and it's because it's out physicaling the other team. Georgia Southern, they try to motion every single play and get into weird formations that had to make us check to different things. And teams know this, and teams will still do it. But teams like, in my opinion, like Akron, obviously NIU, I mean, they're going to line up the way they want to and try to come right at you and with what they have. So those teams are easier to play against, I would say.
Gotcha.
3 people, dead or alive, that you would love to talk to. Is there, just any 3 people that you would absolutely love to sit down and have a discussion with?
I would say my great-grandfather. He was kind of the building of my last name. He's obviously just one of them. I had to throw in a family member there. Celebrity-wise, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I would say just having that conversation with one of those successful football players. Obviously, have to throw in maybe whether that's Lawrence Taylor, or in my opinion, it would be unique to just have a conversation with Joe Bocci himself. But yeah, maybe Joe Burrow, because I know he's pretty close to OU. But yeah, as far as that, I don't aspire to try to talk to too many people, but those would be some unique names to sit down and have a talk with.
Yeah, be definitely a good discussion. So if you had to tell an aspiring high school player that's starting his journey, let's say next year into college, what is the hardest part? What would you tell them the hardest part of college football is, and what would it be and why?
The hardest part is knowing you walk into the program, and because of your success in high school, you think you are the man, but you walk in and you quickly realize that everyone there was the man in high school. And that's hard for a lot of kids to grasp. And that's the kids who have the weak mindset of, okay, I'm not the man anymore, this isn't fair. Those are the kids that are going to get hurt when they hit the portal because they don't have any film. That's what's upsetting about the portal. But
right.
As far as that, you just have to make sure when you go into, you're not going to be anywhere close to where you are when you leave the place. So don't go in there thinking that, okay, it's never going to get better. You're never going to get better. My growth from freshman year has been tremendous. So if I were to just leave the program or quit, I wouldn't be nowhere near as obviously close to I am as I am now.
We've got one more question here before we let you go. If you had to give any pointers, what would it be? It could be on the field. It could be off the field, right? How to, coming into a new place, getting set up, your classes, like I said, the on the field stuff. What are some pointers you would give?
Find some sort of community or friend group that you can go into it with, because that makes it a lot easier. I'm roomed with Bradley Weaver, who made the strip sack, but I'm also plugged in with Athletes in Action, which is a great program there for all the athletes, and it definitely helps me, go through those long days and rainy days. So yeah, having those outlooks to go through and to talk to and pick you up when you're down, or praise you when you're high. So
Awesome. Well, Justice, do you have anything else you want to ask? Or
No.
no, that was a great interview. Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you in an increased role next year.
Yes,
absolutely. I'd love to do it again after sometime next year.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back. Thank you for taking the time to sit down and do this with you. I know it's kind of close to Christmas and everything's kind of hectic, but we do appreciate you taking the time to do this. Shay Taylor, linebacker for Ohio University. You can follow him on Twitter at Shay_Taylor. Thank you. I'm at Hollywood Titan with my co-host at Justice_2318. You can follow us at Devy IDP Grind. And we